prepared for something new. Everyone is different. So are you. Stay straight. No masquerades. Do things that you'll remember. You can push too far, but stay fair. Stay on track. Give it your all. Get to the bottom of things. Decide what's right. Don't believe in what the others do. Find it out for yourself. Be close to it all. Bring your heart along. Follow your goals. Reach for the stars. Turn the weekend into the loudest party of your life. Are you prepared?
Hello everybody, welcome along to Moscow. We are about to start the second half of the 2017 DTM season. We've had 9 qualifying sessions and 9 races, and we've got 9 more of each to go. At the halfway point in the championship, René Rast has moved into the points lead for the second time this season. He's on 99 points after his second win in DTM, his second win in his first full season, and his first win on his first ever visit to Moscow yesterday. So René Rast for Audi Team Rosberg on 99 points, Lucas Auer second for Mercedes-AMG Motorsport BWT on 95. And Matthias Ekström was leading the championship coming into the weekend, down to third now on 93 points. There is then the championship leader, René Rast. You can see there's less than 3 minutes to go until the start of what is going to be a 20-minute qualifying session. Augusto Farfus leaving the garage. More bad luck for the Brazilian driver yesterday, I'm afraid, having looked very quick at the start of the race, having had his best qualifying session of the year. There is Jamie Green, who has been one of our race winners this year and is still in contention for the championship, the British driver, still looking for his first DTM title, one of the most experienced drivers out there, and he has already got a couple of wins this season. Mike Rockenfeller, you saw there, the real hero of yesterday's race, driving here with a broken metatarsal in his left foot after a big crash at the Norris Ring just 3 weeks ago, and he got his best qualifying performance of the season, and he got his best race results of the season yesterday, a very close second, right behind René Rast all the way through. There you can see Mike's car is lining up second in the queue to go out onto this 3.9 kilometre long circuit, ready for the 20-minute qualifying session. I'm Chris Hartley here in Moscow, overlooking what's a slightly overcast, slightly cloudy sky. A mild breeze like we had yesterday, so a little bit cooler than it was for race conditions. They've already been out for free practice. Jamie Green was quickest by just 0.03 of a second from Matthias Ekström, the championship leader René Rast. Third, a good effort from Loic Duval, who was quickest for a lot of the session. He ended up fourth. Augusto Farfus and Nico Müller rounding out the top 6 once again. Robert Wickens has not really shown good pace in any of the free practice sessions, but he had a very good race yesterday to come from 11th on the grid to finish just outside the podium positions in 4th place, and he again is towards the tail end of the session in pre-practice 3 this morning. But again, we don't know quite what strategies they're running and what they are testing and trying out in those free practice sessions. Matthias Ekström had a bit of rougher tumble in the race yesterday on the first lap, which cost him time as he was sent out wide, and he had a bit more bumping and boring later on in the race. Paul di Resta wasn't able to get into the points yesterday. He's already picked up 1 race win, the former champion this season. And Paul was one of the drivers, one of 3 drivers to pit after the first lap of the race for the mandatory pit stop. Marco Wittmann, a defending and 2-time champion, with a good result yesterday to come home in 3rd place. He managed to repass Robert Wickens in the final stages of the race to get himself back on the podium. Lucas Auer had good pace yesterday in the race, but was unlucky at the start in the first couple of corners to be sent out wide in avoidance of a bit of side-by-side action that was going on just ahead of him. So he lost a bit of ground there, but he came through to finish in 6th place. Outscored Matthias Ekström, who he'd been behind coming into the weekend in terms of the championship points, but they were both outscored by René Rast, who went up from the start of the weekend being 5th in the championship up into the championship lead. So the clock begins its countdown, a 20-minute session. They all go out. As normal, we will expect them to split this session into 2 parts. They'll go out, do some quick laps, come in, change tyres and go out again for the final 6 or 7 minutes of the session to try and better their times. Yesterday, we were seeing drivers able to get 2 good laps on the tyres, and quite often drivers on their second flying lap were getting their better times. BMWs have been fastest in the last 3 qualifying sessions, because yesterday Marco Wittmann was quickest of all. He got the 3 points for qualifying on pole position, but he didn't actually start on pole position because of penalty points picked up on his licence. 3 sets of them, which meant that he got a 5-place grid drop and had to start from 6th on the grid. But Marco was on pole yesterday. Then at the Norris ring, Maxime Martin and Tom Blomqvist, 2 other BMW drivers, were on pole position. So the BMWs have got good form at the moment in terms of qualifying pace, but in terms of race results and championship leads, it has been looking very good for Audi. René Rast leads the driver standings, as I said. Audi, after yesterday's race, are on 378 points and are 71 points clear now of Mercedes-Benz, second in the Constructors' Championship. And René Rast and Jamie Green drive for Audi Sport Team Rosberg, and that's the team that leads the team standings at the moment, with 176 points now from BWT Mercedes, who are second on 135. So here you can see the view into the first turn. They approach this first corner at 245 kilometers an hour. And with DRS, that is increased. It's a 5th gear corner. It's a pretty tight left-hander, that first corner. There's lots of runoff, luckily, on the exit to the turn, but they don't knock that much speed off. They approach still at around, in 5th gear, at around 170 kilometers an hour, and then down to second for the second turn at 105. It's quite a tight, technical, twisty circuit. Mike Rockenfeller then, see what he can do again. He is driving with special medical tape on his broken left metatarsal. He's got a special race boot on. And more importantly, he is having to do everything with his right foot. He's having to brake and accelerate with his right foot rather than left foot braking, which makes yesterday's performance all the more special. He's got a terrific record here, as we've spoken about this weekend already. He's taken 2 of his 4 race wins have come here at the Moscow Raceway. And here he is, setting the early benchmark pace. 30.674 seconds through the first sector, which takes you through to the exit to turn 4, turn 5. The middle sector is quite a long sector, which takes in the twists and turns out at the back of the circuit. The final sector, it essentially just encompasses the very long back straights, almost 900 meters long, down in towards turn 15. Into the pits, we've got Maxime Martin, who I spoke to this morning. See a slow-mo there of delay in the pitch and checking the front of the car, so all is not well down at BMW. Maxime was in quite high spirits, quite positive about today. He came to Moscow off the back of 3 consecutive podium finishes. However, yesterday he was stuck at the back of the field. But he said to me, actually, the race pace was quite good, but once you have a bad qualifying, once you're stuck at the back, it's really hard to overtake at Moscow. And he was behind Edo Mortara for much of the race, but remaining quite positive. The driver who was 3rd in the standings coming into the weekend. Gary Paffett had a 7th place finish in yesterday's race. Rocky's quickest in the early stages, but the times are going to get much quicker than this. 1 minute 31.7, a couple of seconds away from what we're expecting still. Gary Paffett coming through to 7th place. Jamie Green then was in the points again yesterday, but only 9th, only a couple of points picked up. He's bagged points in most races so far this season, and he's been one of the best qualifiers. I think it's only René Rast that has a better qualifying record this season, so we'll see what Jamie can do here. In terms of the performance weights of the cars, which is based on your first and second fastest drivers' average lap times in the race these days, rather than qualifying pace, nothing has changed. They've analysed it, and the weights stay as they were yesterday, which means the Mercedes are the heaviest cars. They're 10 kilograms heavier than the Audis and 5 kilograms heavier than the BMWs, which are in the mix. And speaking to Uli Fritz this morning, the head of Mercedes, he was saying it's around about 0.2 of a second that you lose with the 10 kilograms, a tenth for every 5 kilograms of performance weight that you carry. So Paffett and Wickens up there looking for a quick lap time here. second and third at the moment in the early stages. Rocky in his second flying lap, much quicker, 1:27.8. So that's a benchmark time, but Gary Pavitt's just gone quicker, 1:27.230. And then Wickens goes slightly quicker still. So Rocky down to third at the moment. Mercedes first, second and fourth. But we've still got lots of drivers yet to run. And Jamie Green is on a quick lap here. He set the fastest first sector of anybody. Paul de Resta's had a personal best in sector 1 and has got the highest top speeds so far through sector 1. What can Jamie do here? That's a personal best, but that doesn't really tell us much. But he is 76 thousandths down, that is all, through the first 2 sectors of the lap. So he can easily pull that back with a good run into the final turn. They come down here at 245 kilometres an hour, hit the brakes through turn 15. One of the slowest corners, first gear, 77 kilometres an hour, back on the gas, and he goes fastest, 1:27.173. Doing that by just about half a tenth of a second, but Rennie Rast snatches it away straight away, 1:27.153. De Resta had a good lap as well, which has put him into the top 6. Maro Engel, who got some points yesterday, is gone into the top 5 as well. So it's Rast, Green, Wickens, Pavitt, Engel and De Resta the top 6. Lucas Auer is 7th. And the other championship contender, Matthias Ekstrom, has yet to put a proper lap in. So what can Gary Pavitt do here? Race pace was pretty good yesterday. Looks like this lap is down on the previous one, though. So, yes, and he aborts the lap, comes into the pit. So it does very much look like 2 laps you're getting out of the Hankook tyres in qualifying around here. And in more cases than not, it is the second lap that you do that is your quickest lap, provided you can hook it all up. On board with Matthias Ekstrom then, the 2004 and 2007 champion, current World Rallycross champion as well, which he still dovetails his DTM career with. And Eki has been a pretty solid qualifier so far this year, finishing in the points yesterday despite all that went on in 8th place, but losing the championship lead. He was 6th fastest in yesterday's qualifying session. Could he do here? Bruno Spengler's just gone third, only 36 thousandths away from the fastest time. This looks like a pretty solid lap from Matthias Ekstrom, and it goes quickest. He's the first one into the 1:26s, 1:26.934. He was quicker than everybody in the first sector. The fastest driver in the third and final sector so far has been Jamie Green. So if you could hook all 3 sectors up, there's still potentially more time available in this track. There is Timo Glock having a very solid season so far for BMW Team RMG. A couple of second place finishes so far this season. 5th in yesterday's race. Got a warning for contact on the first lap yesterday, but no penalty was applied. And he is about to put his first flying lap in the session. Ekstrom is quickest, 1:26.934, 2 tenths quicker than Rennie Rast, who is second. Rennie is only 200ths quicker than Jamie Green in third place on a 1:27.1 as well. Jamie is only 16 thousandths quicker than Bruno Spengler, who is 4th. And now 5th goes Timo Glock with his first flying lap on a 1:27.207 rather. We've got Robert Wickens 6th and Augusto Farfus 7th, and they have set exactly the same lap time, both 1:27.230. But Robert set it first, so he, at the moment, is above Augusto, who's just come into the pits. They are 6th and 7th, respectively. Gary Pavitt 8th, Marco Wittmann in 9th place, quickest yesterday. But it was in the second part of qualifying when Marco was able to improve and get, effectively, his second pole position. Although, as I say, he never started on pole. But his second pole position here at the Moscow Raceway, one of the drivers that's won here in the past. As is this man, Maxime Martin, got his maiden DTM victory here in 2014. Says he's always been competitive here. But one of the real challenges of this circuit is getting the peak performance from the tyres. Maxime said to me this morning, it's a very narrow window for the tyres, and if you're not quite there, it's very hard to get it back. So they were just missing a little bit, but a little bit in DTM, 1 or 2 tenths of a second is the difference between being at the front and being at the back because it's so competitive. So let's see what Maxime can do here. He tried, not for the first time this season, an early pit stop strategy in the race yesterday. He was one of the others to pit on lap 1, but it never really worked for him, I'm afraid, unlike in other races where he's deployed that strategy and come through.
In lap, but the improvement was not much.
So team radio there, improvement not much in lap, not too much you can do to the cars during the course of the session. And after qualifying, you can't really do anything to the cars. You can change the tyre pressures, but they're in part firme conditions, so that free practice session, learning as much as you can. And in this qualifying session, absolutely critical, because once you've been through this, you're kind of stuck with that setup then for the race. 3 free practice sessions during the course of the weekend, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 55-minute plus 1 lap races. Pretty much everybody in then. We get a super slow-mo of Rennie Rast, who is by far and away the best qualifier this year. He's picked up 8 points through qualifying now, which is the equivalent to a 6th place finish in a race. So his average grid position this year has been 5th. In fact, his first qualifying session of the year was his worst at Hockenheim, 14th. Jamie Green is currently in 3rd place. However, he is another driver that's been picking up penalty points. If you get 3 warnings, lots of warnings, you pick up penalty points and a grid drop of 5 places. As I said, Timo Glock picked up some yesterday. Jamie Green has also picked up 3 warnings now, so he gets a 5-place grid drop. So at the moment he's 3rd, but he will drop to 8th place. That will put Bruno Spengler, as it stands, up into 3rd place, one of the winners last time out at the Norris Ring. Had Mike Rockenfeller qualifying 3rd yesterday. He's down in 16th place at the moment, I'm afraid. It's not quite going as well for him, and you do begin to wonder if the pain of carrying this broken left metatarsal, this broken bone in his foot, might start to tell during the course of the weekend. He looked a bit uneasy as he made his way up to the podium yesterday, despite all the adrenaline. I'm sure it would have been after the race, once the adrenaline had settled, where he felt it more. As you look at Bruno Spengler, one of our 2 Canadian drivers, along with Robert Wickens, both having a good session at the moment. Bruno 4th, Robert 6th. They'll move up a place each because Jamie Green is going to get this penalty. But yeah, Rocky certainly didn't drop the pace in the race yesterday. I thought perhaps he might, in the last 5-10 minutes of the race, start to struggle, but he kept on to the tail of René Rast. He stayed with him. He stayed within a second, within DRS distance all the way through the race, really. The gap was never more than 1.6 seconds. For the second half of the race, it was always a second or less, but he never quite got close enough to attack. The best opportunity being on the run into turn 1. René was able to just keep him at arm's length for a perfect race.
Turn 10 braking too early.
So the team radio braking too early into turn 10 at the back of the circuit. That is at the end of the back straight. There's a double left. It's the second part of that. It's a 3rd gear, 97km/h corner, one of the mid-speed corners at the back of this Hermann Tilke designed circuit, which is only 5 years old, opened in 2012. First time DTM came here in 2013. But that's one of the great things about having this short pause in the middle of qualifying. You get a chance to, for your engineers and the drivers, to get the laptops out, look at the data, and just overlay it against your best laps, against perhaps your teammates' laps, and work out where you can just find that extra 10th. Are you taking a slightly different line into a corner? Are you braking a bit early? Are you braking a bit late? Where can you find that bit more time? And it's absolute minuscule amounts that you're searching for all the time. You take that data and you go out for the second part of qualifying and you learn from it and you try and improve. Trouble is, they're all improving at the same time. You can see a big crowd gathered at the circuit. We're about 95 kilometers or so away from the center of Moscow. We're in the Moscow region. Such a vast country, this, but it's a very well attended event. It's an absolute pristine circuit. The facilities, the media center here, the grandstands, the whole layout of the circuit is super well presented. There's some great viewing points for the spectators that come here, and they've come here in good numbers this weekend. So super slow-mo of the BMW of Timo Glock. I have to say, had a good qualifying session yesterday. BMW's qualifying pretty well most of the time this year. Hockenheim, he got pole position for the second race there. And he's been one of the best qualifiers this year. His average grid is 7th. René Rast has averaged 5th. Jamie Green, second best qualifier, averaging 6th. He's picked up 4 points for qualifying. And then he got Lucas Auer, Timo Glock, and Tom Blomqvist have all been good qualifiers. Although Tom's had a pretty rotten year in terms of race results so far. The only driver to retire with a mechanical problem yesterday, I think it was from damage he picked up early on in the race. And Justin Farf was backed out late on as well. Apologies if talking over at times the car radio, because it's not coming through all that loud and clear into the headset, but the car's now going out with 5.5 minutes to go. There, Matthias Ekstrom poised and ready to go. He sits on provisional pole position, Eki. And this would be his first pole of the year, actually, if he can hold on to it. He's yet to start on the front row. Hungaro Ring was his best qualifying performance. He got 2 third-place qualifying performances there, but he's yet to start a race on the front row of the grid. So they fire the engines up. 2 laps to have a go at this, 2 laps to nail it and get it absolutely right. And it's so critical, especially on the circuit where it is possible to overtake, but it is not the easiest circuit in the world to overtake on. On board with Matthias Ekstrom then, going out onto the circuit aboard his Audi, looking for his 21st career pole position in the DTM, having made his debut back in 2001, 16 years ago. Hugely experienced driver, a double champion. One of 6 DTM champions on the grid this year. Marco Wittmann, a double champion as well. Bruno Spengler won in 2012. Mike Rockenfeller won in 2013. Paul di Resta back in 2010 before he went off to Formula 1 and then came back to DTM. And Gary Paffett back in 2005, a champion as well. As we look at Lucas Auer, the Austrian driver. Ulrich Fritz saying to me this morning how great it had been to see Lucas developing as a driver. He said he had a tough first year. He struggled initially when he came into the DTM with a good, solid background in single-seater racing, in Formula 3 racing. But he really has made great leaps forward in the last season and a half, really. This is his 3rd season. He was only 23rd in his first season in the championship, 12th last year. Got a win at the Lausitz-Ring, got a 2nd place finish at the Nürburgring, got a couple of pole positions as well. And he's really kicked on this year to, at times, have been the championship leader. Jamie Green then needs to get as high up the grid as he can, carrying this 5-place grid penalty. Currently lying 3rd fastest. Needs to find 0.2 of a second if he's to move ahead of Rast and Ekstrom. But he's also got Bruno Spengler, only a few thousandths slower than him. And then there are 3 or 4 other drivers within a 10th as well. So the likelihood is drivers are going to improve in the top 10, and Jamie will need to improve as well. This first lap is not going to be the one. It's going to be the 2nd lap where he goes for it. 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Matthias Ekstrom underneath the commentary box has just gone through over the start-finish line. He's followed by the Red Bull liveried BMW of Marco Wittmann. What can Marco do? Only 9th quickest at the moment. You can see them generating heat into these slick Hankook tyres. Softer compound, wider tyres this year, less aero on the cars, but a little bit more horsepower, a bit more mechanical grip. And it's given us some absolutely fantastic racing and some fantastic qualifying sessions as well. Can Eki hang on to this? At the moment, you've got Audis 1, 2 and 3. Best BMW, Bruno Spengler in 4th place. Best Mercedes, Robert Wickens, currently 6th fastest. On a much better qualifying run than he was. And Mike Rockenfeller needs a big improvement here. He's only 16th quickest at the moment. There he is. Let's see what he can hook together in the final couple of minutes of this session. Yesterday a real bonus, but he hasn't come here just to pick up points, just to stay in the championship fight. He has come here with an absolute determination to win for the 3rd time here in Moscow. And if he could get on the podium again, get a race win, he really is going to boost his championship chances going into the 2nd half of the season. He's had a personal best in the 1st sector. 28.9 is pretty good. Not the best we've seen, but it's not too far away. It's within half a tenth or so. So Mike makes his way through the middle sector of the lap. René Rast has just set the fastest 1st sector of anybody, though, 28.5 seconds. Loic Duval in the top 10, looking for his first points in DTM. The only driver not to score a point so far this season, but he's looked much improved in terms of performance and pace here this weekend. He's already in the top 10, and he's on a personal best lap in sectors 1 and 2. The absolute best in sector 1, though, on this lap is René Rast, who is 2nd quickest. Can he get another pole position? Loic Duval goes 2nd rather, with a 3rd sector, which is absolutely mint. The best that we've seen so far, absolute best in that sector. Paul di Resta's gone absolute best in sector 2 and 3, and goes quickest as he goes over the line. Paul di Resta fastest for Mercedes, 1 minute 26.887. Ekstrom, though, is on a good charge here. He's just gone faster than anybody so far in sector 1. What about René Rast? He goes over the line, he goes quickest, 1:26.735. 10th and a half quicker than Paul di Resta, who is on course for his best qualifying so far. Here is Lucas Auer fighting the wheel in the top 10 just about. Gary Paffett is just outside the top 10. Farfus has gone into the pits, 9th quickest. Gary Paffett's on a personal best. Can he get himself up into the top, maybe top 8 with this lap? It's a very good 1st sector, actually. He's only just fractionally slower than the best we've seen there. And Bruno Spengler is on a good lap as well. Best of all in sectors 2 and 3. Quickest of all for Bruno. He goes to the top of the times. Onto provisional pole, but we're not done yet. What about Eki? He hasn't got absolute best in sector 1 or 2, but he's on a personal best, and he's already in the top 5. So it's Spengler, Rast, Di Resta, Glock, and Ekstrom goes second. Onto the front row of the grid, his best qualifying of the year so far, but he cannot get past Bruno Spengler with that lap. Spengler, 1:26. Oh, Blomqvist comes out of nowhere, not for the first time this season, and does it right at the end of the session. Tom Blomqvist, 1:26.518, quicker than anybody in Sector 2. Maxime Martin across the line, much better than yesterday. That is 8th quickest. A big, big improvement. He was in, as I say, quite a positive frame of mind this morning. And it shows here. But out of the blue, Tom Blomqvist, for the second time this season, gets pole position. And for the second time this season, he does it right at the end of the session. Fastest. He nicked past Rob Wickens at the Norris Ring in the dying seconds to get pole position. That's 2 poles from 3 races now. Just needs a bit more luck to be able to turn these good qualifying performances into race results. And Tom Blomqvist, 1:26.518 seconds by just about half a tenth of a second. Bruno Spengler second. Matthias Ekstrom with his joint best qualifying of the year in third. He was almost second, but not quite, 1:26.582. He missed out on the front row by 0.03 of a second. René Rast fourth, another good performance, 1:26.735. He was at the top of the times briefly, but it all changed in those dying seconds, that last lap. Paul Di Resta was fastest at one point with, 20 seconds to go. He ends up 5th, 1:26.887. Timo Glock 6th, 1:26.902. Marco Wittmann 7th, 1:26.910. Another one in the 1:26.9s was Maxime Martin in 8th place. Loic Duval in 9th place, 1:26.946 for him as well. So you've got Glock, Wittmann, Martin and Duval all within a few thousandths of a second of each other, 6th down to 9th place. And this was just how much they were pushing coming out of that last turn to take the checkered flag. So Augusto Farfus running a bit too wide and Lirian on the grass, and that's why I think he aborted his final lap. He was the first one to come into the pits. And Farfus has ended up down in 13th place in the end. Super slow-mo of Maxime Martin through this last corner. Desperate to get on the power. Got to be so careful not to run wide onto that grass. He just about got away with that. Nailed his best lap of the session right at the end, and Maxime getting through to 8th place. So Tom Blomqvist, and that's the 4th pole position for a BMW driver on the trot now. Sorecki walking away. But there is Tom. Super effort from him. He's only 15th in the championship. 2nd pole, 3rd time on the front row of the grid, because he was on the front row at the Lausitz Ring as well. Didn't have any luck there. He's only been in the points once this season with a 9th place finish at the Norris Ring. Retired yesterday. Picked up some damage in the early stages of the race. Forget the first half of the season. Can he turn it round in part 2? Well, it's a good start. It's a very good start. But how close was that? 1:26.518 for Blomqvist, 1:26.579 for Spengler, 1:26.582 for Ekstrom. That means 64 thousandths of a second covered the top 3. Here, confirmation of the result. BMW 1-2, Blomqvist and Spengler. Ekstrom 3rd, Rast 4th, both for Audi. Di Resta, the best Mercedes, in 5th. We'll be pleased with that. Timo Glock in 6th place. Wittmann, Martin, Duval and Paffett rounding out the top 10. Jamie Green 11th, but also with a 5-place grid penalty, turning into a difficult weekend this for him. Robert Wickens was going well in the first part of qualifying, but he slid down to 12th place in the end, so he's actually lower down the grid than he was yesterday. Eki gets on the text, sends a message home to tell them where he is, and will be, I think, pretty satisfied with 3rd on the grid. So super slow-mos of our top 3 in the 10th qualifying session of the 2017 season. Matthias Ekstrom in the Red Bull Audi. 3rd quickest, almost on the front row. And almost as quick as pole as well. Bruno Spengler coming home in 2nd place in that session. Things finally turning around for Bruno. He's been 3rd, 4th and now 2nd. So good qualifyings in 3 of the last 4 sessions. He was so pleased with the car at the Norris Ring when he got that win in race 1. Told the team it was a beautiful car to drive, and it's looking good here as well this weekend for race 2. Tom Blomqvist, though, the man that tops the times overall, to take his second pole position of the season. And that is Tom's third career pole. Hobbling away, Mike Rockenfeller, not the result that he had yesterday, only 16th fastest in the end. Edo Mortara back in 17th place, really struggling this weekend with the Mercedes, and Maro Engel down in 18th position as well. I'm sure they're going to see some interesting strategies from them in terms of potentially early pit stops. Good to see Bruno Spengler having a better run. Another driver that's just really struggled and had a bit of bad luck along the way as well for a little while now. Bad season last year. It's his worst in DTM, only 15th in the championship. His highlight, actually, last year came here at Moscow. His one and only podium came at this circuit. He's got a good record here. He's got several podium finishes here. You see Eki in the foreground, René Rast just in the background there. Again, a good, strong qualifying performance for him. And if he can turn that into a podium, he should be able to hang on to the championship lead. Matthias Ekström, though, 10 years since he last won the championship title, is very much in contention here. So it is the grid provisionally for the race to come this afternoon. Tom Blomqvist on pole position for the third time in his career. Bruno Spengler will start alongside on row 2, Matthias Ekström, and the championship leader, René Rast. Then on row 3, we're going to have Paul de Resta and Timo Glock lining up in 5th and 6th positions, respectively. Marco Wittmann, the defending champion, and Maxime Martin, 7th and 8th this time. Much better for Maxime than yesterday. Loic Duval making improvements. He's 9th. Gary Paffett, always solid up there in the top 10 once again. Robert Wickens qualified 12th. He'll start where he started yesterday, though, in 11th place with Augusto Farfus alongside in 12th. Lucas Auer, 13th. Nico Muller, 14th. And then Mike Rockenfeller back in 15th. They all shuffle up one because Jamie Green, who qualified 11th, picks up a 5-place grid penalty and starts 16th. And the final row of the grid, Edo Mortara and Maro Engel with work to do, around about 7 or 8 tenths of a second off the pace of the front runners, which is quite a big chunk of time. So some great super slow-mo shots then of Tom Blomqvist, who really from nowhere robbed the bank then. We're all looking at Ekström and Rast, and Spengler and de Resta, and then Blomqvist just put together a beautiful lap, went under the radar. And, well, the highs and lows of motorsport. Miserable day for Tom yesterday. All smiles today, but, well, he'll pick up points, of course. He'll get 3 points for qualifying. Just here, a glimpse of his conversation. Don't think I was super quick there, but I just hooked it up. Two Mercedes drivers with a bit of work to do. Might have to work together, actually. Just on the fringe of the top 10, those two. Gary Paffett just in the top 10, just outside Robert Wickens. But they're a very good day for BMW. So far, Blomqvist and Spengler, they are on the front row. But it is all about the race. So, a great race to look forward to. I'm sure it was really fun yesterday. We had some great battles, 55 minutes of racing to look forward to as we look back at some of the highlights from the qualifying session.